I can only lay my hand on 2,000 3D videos. That is not enough to keep
It's not enough to keep a network going or
keep a
its
network,
channel.
keep a channel going, because you got to do, even if they do the cycle, which is basically to repeat it 3 times a day. That's 8 hours a day. You got to have. Okay, let's put it this way: you have to have new product 8 hours a day for at least 13 consecutive weeks. You figure the totals up. That eats up.
Even if they repeat it, because you talk about 3 hours for prime time, right?
Yeah. Well, no, but they're going to repeat it. Mostly, it's going to be on cable. Because they're not going to do it on network, because the fact that they're not really geared to do 3D on network. Cable will basically have a different, they'll have the proprietary system designed, but they want everybody to watch the network, so they're not going to ever go to 3D on the networks. But the network owns cable, and the networks have already got, they're basically abandoning cable channels which they intend to be 3D channels.
Right.
Well, they're basically, you know, they're filling out the thing with a lot of trash programming just to occupy the space. Well, there's the place that we're thinking about doing. We're watching the show. I mean, it really looks nice. So, there's not enough for, I think there's 10 to 12 major television set manufacturers. Each one's going to have different programming. There are the 4 major television networks. They got to have programming, and there are the independents. So we're talking independents such as Dish Network and DirecTV. Each one have to have theirs. Figured this way: they're on a 24-hour cycle. They run 8 hours of stuff and then replace. Then they redo it. They basically run around the cycle.
But you know what, it'll be like, remember when HD channels started coming out? It's like there was, they only had a few hours of programming. Remember, HD programming, when it first came out, was nature and sports.
Yeah, but they have to be able to hook people. They want them to watch the channels continually. You don't want them to turn off. If they turn off, they might never turn back on. So you got to provide them a schedule. That schedule will be repeated 3 to 4 times a day. You know, the same thing every day. But for 13 weeks, you have to have programming to fill 13 weeks, 8 hours a day for 13 weeks.
Which is still a lot of programming.
On every single one of the channels, every single one of them. And like I said, there's 12, 16, there's about 20 that I can count right now. Besides the people, other independents that basically will put things up. Cable, the internet's got to have 3D.
Well, and part of it is we've learned, because we've been shooting 3D for a while. I mean, they had told us at Sony low and close, especially when you're out.
And we do know it works well.
And we know what works and what doesn't work for 3D. I mean, part of it is we 3D certain things, like when we're standing there talking and things like that. I mean, yes, it can be shown in 3D. It's not optimum for 3D. No. Right? But it's kind of cool to get the effect. But, you know, part of it is we also understand that while we're on here, standing here talking, is like there's a lot of you don't sit there and watch it, right? Because like I don't even sit there and watch TV. It's like I'm doing things, multiple things at the same time and listening to it and then looking at periodically.
And basically because a lot of television is ambient sound, ambient noise, not going to put the glasses on. We also know that this is a blue screen behind us. If I put a static picture behind us, it looks better in 3D than if I put a video behind us. It looks far better because I can make us, you know, stand out like this on a picture, but when I put the video in,
what happens?
It basically, we don't stand out.
Does it flatten it out more?
It flattens it out a bit.
More like a
with the picture, which is why, I mean, well, she's seen. I've got one with, we've got Donna Spring, the bikinis are dancing with, actually it's my avatar, folks, you know, and basically she's seen it right now with the cartoon against a green screen, which we got a blue chroma key, you know, but she's seen it in 2D. In 3D, it's going to be a little, it won't look as good, and which is funny, it won't look as good. Whereas if I take a picture, I've taken the pictures, my avatar, when he does the news, you know, every now and then, which actually does better than me, which is, I guess they like my avatar better than they do me. It gets higher rating.
They're checking to see what you're doing with the avatar. You're talking about news.
Okay, I tell you, it takes 5 hours to do that avatar.
It does take a while.
It takes a lot of time to do that avatar, but that's done in 3D. It looks really good against a static background, but if I put it up against a background you know,
We
in,
did the beach background
did it.
with the waves going.
yeah, and it doesn't quite look the same, so,
It is kind of fun though, because you know, obviously it's a video in the background
Yeah.
and he's got the avatar. I think of Who Framed Roger Rabbit
yeah,
every time I see
because
that.
the avatar basically, okay, I have a unique trick with my avatar, which is basically I can do the 3D at the same time as I do the, you know, as this processing, which basically cuts 5 hours, it is 10 hours to do it. I can cut it off by processing all at the same time, but I have to put the background in. I can't process the avatar and live action at the same time. I can process the avatar and a static screen at the same time because I haven't quite got the hang, well actually I don't quite have the software yet. That comes next to allow me to do, it basically is called POP. And you can test there and take a live video and put you into the live video, which is what we're working towards now because you're going to be seeing her in, she's going to be seeing a cartoon series in 3D, which is the BC and her avatars. You know, we're going to turn out, if I'm lucky, I can turn out one of those a day. And that one a day is going to take me, you know, 3 or 4 hours to do at a time because it's going to have original music, which she's been listening to, which she actually likes. I get depressed, I do really good. I usually do depressed music, now I'm doing hopping and bopping. But they're going to be in 3D. It's basically, it comes from people like us, not from 20th Century Fox, not from Columbia, not from Sony, not from MGM. That's not where you're going to get the material. It's going to come from people like us. We right now can put up 260, we can put up 20 hours, I think. 20 hours of what I've got. No, it's 20 hours, no, it's 20 hours of OCam.
Oh,
I think it's 250, I think it's 260 hours of what we can put up. I know I've got to, yeah, something like that. I can put out, and I can turn out the stuff. Actually, I can turn out 3D as fast as I have computers hooked up to do it. That's how fast our department is. My animation, okay, as the share dog would tell you, my part of the company basically is slow. So.
well, it's processing and processing and processing.
I know, her part is real fast. Her part is where all the great editing and all the great stuff comes from her side.
No. His is the animation and all the 3D.
You know, when they say, well, he has no life, that's why he can spend all the time in a computer. I mean, I had 4 computers working, doing processing last night, you know, so as Chair Dog is also creating new music, Chair Dog is he has to do, Chair Dog must turn out at least one new arrangement every single day, and they're really starting to get intricate. 14 instruments in the piece last night at 2:30 in the morning.
It did sound really good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and see, you have to do it with earphones on because the neighbors wouldn't appreciate the noise.
Oh.
Yeah, all of this is for 3D. You're going to see more and more 3D output by us. And, you know, like I said, no one I have contacted, not one single company that wants 3D has contacted me back, and they can see the product we have out there.
Well, and here's a few things that will give you a hint on 3D. And it's similar to HD.
Yeah.
Is that you need a lot of light.
You need a lot of light. It's why we don't do as much, we haven't done as much at the beach as we wanted to. When we go to the beach, it has been so bad outside for like 9 months.
Part of it is we need light. I mean, for example, there was something, it was a Nautica celebrity triathlon,
Yeah.
which I would have loved to have gone to, notwithstanding the fact that I'd have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning,
Yeah.
which I wasn't real fond of. But part of it is we've had the marine layer in the morning,
Yeah.
which means, and with 3D,
I need light.
Yeah.
We did a thing.
it just looks like yuck.
We did a Ford Explorer debut at Venice Beach in 3D, which actually had things. I had to process that thing and process it and process it in order to bring color out of dark, damp, and dismal. And they said, well, how did you manage to shoot that in 3D? Because we didn't have any light out there. This is what the Ford people say. How do you do that? They said, an awful lot of difficulty.
Oh, did they ask us?
I was asked by one of the people. They said,
It took a long
how
time.
did you do that? Because we didn't have, I mean, our stuff is all, but actually what it is, a lot of the people are using our footage from the event because we color corrected the whole bloody thing.
We really did. We color corrected all the pictures, all the video,
Yeah.
2D and 3D.
But it's not cost effective to do that. We did it simply to show off. which is a lot of the 3D stuff. This is showing off. If you understand, for me to do, it took, processing this takes 3 to 6 hours to process a long piece in this. It can take an hour to do 9 minutes.
Yeah, and see, part of the challenge is since we were posting so much up on a daily basis,
Yeah,
guess what it means what the computers are doing?
it means my computers.
Multiple computers processing all the time.
I know, so, and our biggest computer, which is, our editing computer is a laptop, it's not a PC. But my fastest computer is a PC because my fastest computer has a NVIDIA, a full-blown NVIDIA, and it's a full-blown gaming computer. Basically, it's one of these things that does everything on Earth, but it's already hyped up as far as it'll go, whereas the laptop is the biggest god-awful computer you're ever going to find in existence, folks.
Yeah, we've got it. Yeah, we haven't seen anything that large.
No, there's nothing that
Actually, when we saw it, we hadn't seen anything that large, and we still haven't seen anything that large.
They basically, that was a mistake, folks. I mean, that was it was a one-day Christmas thing.
It was a special.
One day, and you know, this one actually doesn't match what the box was. I don't care because it is so, I mean, it is chrome and it is beautiful. She likes it because it is so, I mean, it's bright and shiny. It does everything under the sun. This thing has got so many editing programs on it that it's unbelievable. But it's the heart and soul. But it's still, 3D is the most god-awful, time-consuming thing you're ever going to do in your life. If you don't have a life to live, shoot 3D.
Oh, God.
That's it. Which is why I think that most of the people out there don't want to do it. I mean, like, we're absolutely thinking about going and wasting a god-awful amount of money in 2 weeks. You know,
We've been debating back and forth because we're trying to get some 3D footage.
and
of it.
you know, it'd be great 3D because what's the name? James or Jim, whatever the thing is. But
Barrett Jackson.
Barrett Jackson. They're going to have goes down Las Vegas Boulevard with all the cars. They're a parade of cars. They're going to have the cars on, you know, in the parking lots
Actually,
and
that
stuff.
would look really good though, having them parade.
And what we're doing is, you know, if we did it, what we do is we'd situate our cameras so we can see them pulling out of where they're going, and then secondary camera picking them when they're coming in, because that's our close-up and our down shots. And then you sit there and go talk to the people that own the automobiles in 3D. And the reason, there's a secondary reason for that. What does Las Vegas have that Los Angeles doesn't have at the moment?
Sun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sun.
Well, I mean, we're lucky today we have some sun, but part of it is with the bikinis are and not a spring chick. It's like we like to be near the water and do as much beach filming.
We're all at beach. I mean, you look at
So-
when I do the blue screen, it's almost always got beach stuff behind
Yeah,
us.
unless we're at events. So part of it is you're wondering, well, that's why.
Yeah.
It's like, well, what happened to the beach? I guess.
Okay, it
Yeah.
basically, what happened is, first we were high def out before we started doing 3D. It does not work well in high def. I mean, if you've seen, I have sat there and reprocessed so much stuff that we have been to the beach. We got dead stopped in a beach series we were doing, and that came to a halt because of no sun.
Well, actually, we've shot it enough that you can look outside and you know what it's going to look like.
We can look from miles away and tell.
We know.
In 3D, you think that high def is bad, 3D is worse. Yeah, I mean, there are times when, which like I said, the reason why it takes 2 to 3 times as much money and 2 to 3 times as much work to turn out something in 3D as it does in 2D. And we are still turning out close to 20 minutes a day.
Yeah.
So, but you know, like I said, but the tip to the fact that it's not working right is that we're almost exactly 1 year away from when they made all the announcements about 3D networks coming online, and 2 months, less than 2 months away from where the TV producers made the announcement. That each one, I mean, we went to every single press conference. We're proud to announce that we're going to have a 3D television network on.
Yeah.
They don't exist,
Yeah.
and they don't want to talk to you.